Item 3, review and approve minutes from the previous meeting. Any corrections or additions? I saw. Need a motion to approve. Mary? Hey. Any discussion?
You bringing statutes?
No discussion. All in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Is that orange or yellow, or is that my eye?
It's got the more. It doesn't give you the blue lighting as much. I think that's
Okay. Just
okay.
It's supposed to be better for your eyes.
Item 4, agency reports. Okay. Justin, start on.
So our, as you guys probably already know, the government kind of racing towards the funding deadline for December.
Before you, because people online will never be able to hear you. Maybe I should move over and people coming, because the mic is right here. They'll never be able to hear.
Yeah, such good information. We don't want anybody to miss it.
Yep, it's turned up.
Okay.
Well, I can go right there.
They should be able to hear me. I can speak up. So December 20th is the funding deadline for the government. So obviously NRCS is part of the government. We're hoping they pass it. Most likely a continuing resolution. Haven't really been any indication that they won't pass it. I don't think there's much of an attitude for a shutdown right now, but we'll see. We can't really control it here at the field office level for NRCS. We've been working on contracting our conservation stewardship program renewals. That's a 5-year program. Once a participant is up with their 5 years, they can choose to renew their contract. So been putting plans together. That deadline's Friday tomorrow. So we're pretty much done with that. And then we're shifting on to our EQIP planning. So our environmental quality incentives program is probably our largest program that we deal with. I've been trying to figure out a good way to get you guys information. We can't really share like private information regarding individual contracts, but aggregate data I can share. So I kind of broke it down into the just kind of the general category of applications that we're working with right now. We have 54 for this fiscal year sign up. We do take applications all the time, but we batch them. So I lumped them into erosion control. So we have 13 of those. They're for our grade stabilization structures, dams, shaping, waterways, stream bank restoration, grazing. We have 6 pretty big grazing projects that we're working on. Cover crop and management practices, we have 4 of those. We haven't been funding as many cover crop applications. A lot of the people that have gotten funded for cover crops, we can't necessarily continue to take applications for them once they receive funding. They can't reapply for the same thing. So that does limit some opportunity there. Farmstead, so for our manure storages, covered barnyards, energy improvements, we have 6 applications in that category. Forestry and wildlife, so for our pollinator plantings, our timber stand improvement, our brush management, we've got 17 applications. And then for our plans, for our comprehensive nutrient management plans and forest management plans, applicants can apply for a plan. A lot of times it's a prerequisite to doing work, let's say for a manure storage or for a grazing project or for a forestry project, they need a plan. So that's our 54 applications. I'm hoping that all of them get funded. I think the outlook is pretty good that we're going to have a large percentage of them funded this year. So that should keep us busy. Always looking for new applications too for good projects. We're hiring, we've hired, I should say. Our new hire, our program assistant, Emily Kleber, starts on Monday. So we're really excited to have her there. We've been sharing that role between all of us in the field, and I'm kind of tired of doing 2 people's jobs. So it'll be nice to get somebody in there. That's a huge position. I mean, they help a lot with organization, with coordination, with communication, with just our applicants and our staff. So big position. That's for the first time ever, a full-time federal position that we're hiring.
Yay.
We've contracted that position out and have had turnover since way before I got here. The way the government does contracts is it's always lowest bidder. So that doesn't really equate sometimes to staff that have good benefits and will be retained in our agencies. So that's a full-time position with benefits and everything. So I'm hoping they stay for a while. And then just
Justin, where is she from? Does she live here?
she lives here. She's not local, but her husband had an employment opportunity here and has been working here for a while. And so she was looking for a position in the area. So she is local now. She lives here, but she's not originally from here.
What is it?
Emily Kleber. I hope I'm pronouncing
Kleiber?
it. Could be
Kleiber?
It could be Kleiber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
How's it spelled?
name.
I think it's Kleibr.
Yeah.
Kleiber.
Okay, Kleber. So she said she grew up on a dairy farm. I know her experience was from that I reviewed on her resume was from outside the area. So she could have been somebody who came back. I don't necessarily know her full story, but hoping to get to know her better as she starts Monday. So
Great.
And then the only other thing I have for you guys is just kind of an FYI, the monarch butterfly is potentially going to be listed as a threatened species, and that's going for comment period. And then there will be a 90-day comment period, and the ruling will take place at the beginning of the new year if they decide to put it on the threatened list. So with any threatened and endangered species, we have to follow guidelines when we're doing our work so that we're not, disrupting or negatively impacting federally listed species. So generally speaking, a lot of our work is exempt because if anything, we'd probably be benefiting their habitat. But for some of the other projects, we have to make sure we're not disrupting habitat too. So that could be impactful. I'm assuming there's going to probably be a lot of agricultural exemptions for existing cropland, which is, what we work on. Primarily, but we do a lot of other types of work that could impact it too. So I'll have more information as that kind of proceeds, but that's about it. All I have for my update, unless you guys have questions.
Interesting. In prairie strips, with those seeds, when that soil doesn't get disturbed, does milkweed come up in there? I've tried transplanting milkweed. I can't get it to go.
Doesn't transplant.
Yeah, we have it seems like people that try to grow it, through transplants maybe might not have as much success, but we have it seeded in our mixes and we do see it come up from seed. It takes time, it's not an annual, so it does take time, but yeah. I think it probably depends a lot on the site preparation and where you're trying to plant it too.
In my butterfly garden, but
Yeah.
Once it gets established, it's almost a weed.
Right, it is.
I know, and I know it's hard to do. I keep trying.
Yeah, competition is, the biggest issue, so.
Mhm.
And
I got tons of it down on my farm. I'm not allowed to run over any of it with the brush hog. The wife shoot me.
good for her.
I don't see any monarchs around anymore. I haven't seen a monarch for, maybe occasionally years
Really?
ago.
Yeah.
I just don't see them that often.
3 years ago, I got to see when they migrate and they start bunching together, hanging out in a tree one morning, and that's the last time I've seen them.
Yeah, they're amazing little.
I see them quite a bit, but that's probably from the age group because we'd hatch them and whatever, but
Yeah.
they were on a migrating path at my parents' one year after a storm. The tree looked like it was alive. It was the coolest thing. And I just happened to be visiting, and that maple tree was covered in them for about a couple days. It was cool. And that's the only time I've ever seen it.
See, any other questions for Justin?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, anybody else have any agency reports or want to make any? Okay, not hearing or seeing anybody, we'll move on to item 5. It's to schedule our next conservation education meetings. January 9th, 9:30 here.
Next year.
Next
year.
That weird.
Yeah,
Their coffee over there.
pretty sharp there, Dave. Like that.
Thanks for noticing.
Okay. Moving on to item 6, audience to visitors. This is the UW extension portion. Does anybody care to make any statements or? Okay,
Anybody can talk.
Yeah,
I guess they can.
I make sure you got the timer on.
I don't go, I try not to go anywhere without this 800-page damn report.
Oh, God.
And the more I
Now you
read
want
it,
to talk in the UW? This is the UW.
well, I don't see another opportunity.
Yes, there's another
Oh,
one,
okay.
item 9.
Okay, I have a
Back to-
question about our meeting. In here, maybe this is an old one. I have a county board supervisor meeting on that day. Nancy, is that? I have it on January 9th.
It'd be like the 25th.
All right, and that must have been,
Things got misput.
yeah, or it might have been an old one.
Yeah.
That's gotten changed.
Okay, nothing here for the UW portion. We'll go on to item 7, and that is to review the UW extension bills for payment. I will read them to you and the totals and pass them around when, and if you have any questions, you have to ask. We begin with Miranda Wanker, mileage for 92.46, Hannah Ultimus mileage for 254.16, Emery Bork mileage $21.44. Amazon free programs, folders, lasers, etc. $79.52. Contracted services area 13 county pay contracts July through December educator fees $52,808.75. And then we have the account 5998 state fair funding for trucking to reimburse 4-H leader parents $1,280.24. Grand total $54,444.11. Okay. Randy, you got anything you want to add to that?
No. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the educator fees, it goes twice a year, so that's the last portion for 2025, and I'm sure, I know Nathan and David weren't there. That was the state fair funding that we passed with Rod and Kelly, trucking, so Federation paid the 4 kiddos that went. So we're just reimbursing the Federation what the total they require. So we're not using up the entire budget for it, just how much was covered for the 4 youth that did go. So
For the tackle.
Well,
It's straightened out.
I think it went well. There were a couple dairy ones. The Federation's invoices in there, but I think it went really smoothly. Hopefully, maybe next year some more kids will go, but I don't know. But yeah, everything got straightened out in terms of
Yeah.
the 4-H kiddos doing it.
Adam's on.
He's trying to.
Yeah.
And just with that too, we decided that it'd be easier for the Leaders Federation to write out the individual checks and try to make another vendor code for each of the kids through the county. So that's why we decided to do it this route and just reimburse the Leaders Federation who already have a vendor code for the county. Hopefully that was appropriate, but that was a decision we made just to make things a little easier paperwork wise.
Okay, that's come over here.
Sorry.
You guys see it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We'll just move on to item 8 as we do that, as we look at that, which is the educator highlights. We're going to start with 4-H. So Emery, you're first.
Emery, I'm Emery today.
Okay.
So we did a contest, a coloring contest that we do every year. And Emery was hoping you guys could pick a winner. So I have a note from her to read. In October, we held a countywide coloring contest in honor of National 4-H Week. Myself and Emery have looked through all of the entries and have chosen the top 2 in each age category. Emery would like you guys to help pick the best winner of each category and the best overall. Having you choose gives me an opportunity to introduce who you are and what our county board members do for our 4-H members. If you could pair up and make your selections, then as a board vote on the best, I would deeply appreciate it. Thank you, Emery. So since we have 3 categories, thought you guys could team up and pick your winner out of each category. And then once you have your winners, then we all vote on the overall best. Does that make sense? Just a little fun activity. So I'll pair you guys up. These are the Clover Bug 2. So you guys decide your winners.
Tasks.
You guys can pick between the 3rd and 5th. Which one's you like? And then you guys pick that one. Does anybody feel compelled to try another in 4 of them?
I can do another.
Okay, we do. You guys grab it. Remember the
Oh, look at the, did a little creative work there.
Yeah.
This was clearly the winner.
Mhm.
Clearly.
You don't get to pick your end, David.
Oh,
So
this one has more color.
Yeah.
I say this one.
Yeah, because they did their own little thing there. I love it. And this too.
Yeah, but this one.
Do you mind if I take a look at them? I want to see if they stayed in the lines.
That's what I'm looking at. Little creativity beyond that though.
Well,
This one's
you know, this one has pretty color by far.
Away.
Okay, Miranda, you better go over here.
We're-
Forget what we did.
Yeah, she did go out of the thing.
let's pull from the
Yeah, they
pile and
both.
hold out
They
the one that you
did
picked
it.
out of the 2 as the winner for that age group.
Are we in agreement?
Okay. Do this.
right. This way.
So I can keep track of that.
Glad we didn't have to get in a fight about this.
You pick that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Mm.
Good job,
I like
Dave.
that one. I like what they did with the Dougie.
Pretty even.
Mhm.
I didn't know we were gonna have to do anything this important today.
Miss Mary can't make up her mind.
Well, there's 2 that are pretty equal. This one we know right away.
Yeah, top one.
That one.
Okay.
Close your eyes.
Mhm.
I'm just looking, there's little, I like how they did that with the cow.
Yeah,
This one colored harder, so it stands out a little more.
Might have to just flip a coin. I'm gonna leave the hard decision to you.
80, 90 roll. Yeah, there's let him go. 80, 90 roll.
Okay. Excellent. And then you guys have
pick the
one more.
wrong one.
One. Now you as a group have to decide which one is the best overall. So I'm going to put these on the back so you guys can look at them together. Just also stand and so you can keep track of who's who's.
The 2 of them.
Nope. That's right.
All right. Once you guys pass it around, you guys decide together which one is the best overall.
I think that one's a little bit better.
This is the best.
Yeah, okay.
We like this one the best.
You guys
No.
got all three?
Okay.
Well, it's best. What do you think, Frank?
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
Hey, show it to,
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, they even did a little pattern on,
Yep.
we agreed on this.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
we're not gonna ask you, Dave.
That's all from 4-H. We have.
Colorblind anyway.
So it's a lot of ear.
Yes.
And so otherwise we haven't done much program.
I cut it off when I was young.
Since
Are
fair,
you Van Gogh?
all that fun stuff. So thank you
When I was
guys.
a kid, I
You're welcome. Okay, we'll move on to community
By accident.
development. Hannah?
How'd you do that?
fell on a oil heater.
Okay, so I'll be brief. The biggest of my life has been consumed by this housing study. So we did have, I'm still collecting the paper copies right now. It ended on Sunday, December 8th. I am trying to track down where all their paper copies are. But as the online surveys came in, we had nearly 770 online responses to the survey. So
Is that good?
it's one of the largest ones we have. We only needed 420 to have a really good sample.
Oh, wow.
So we more than exceeded that. And so when I get the paper copies in, we will likely have over 800 responses. So
Wow.
I'm extremely excited about that. It's going to give us a really good data set to look at. So we'll have really good information and a whole analysis to provide at a later date once we get through that. But I'm really excited about that. So it's going to give us a lot of good recommendations to the housing task force, and we'll be able to talk about that. It'll affect a lot of other areas too. So comp planning, it'll affect that, what we recommend for economic development, and then how that crosses over to the housing element and comp planning. So there's a lot of good that it's going to do, and a lot of information that it's going to bring too. So,
And maybe you'll come speak to VDA about those results, because I said that you had this going and they didn't know about it, because
Yep.
they want to know for future development. So that's awesome.
I can certainly do.
So,
Okay, questions for Heather?
Good job.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, we move on to livestock. Beth, you're gonna take care of livestock?
I can do that, yeah.
Okay.
Me today. So last Tuesday, we had our first of 4 producing quality beef workshops for this year that are across the state. The first one was in Richland Center, which isn't in Vernon County, but I think when I took a look at the thing, we had at least 5, maybe 7 people who were from Vernon County that attended that workshop. So it was nice to get to know some of those people. It went extremely well, and I just entered the evaluation feedback, and it seemed like everyone at least learned a little something, so that was fun to see. As I had kind of mentioned last time, still preparing for the Driftless Region Beef Conference. That's a pretty hefty load. I'm more on the marketing material side, so I'm hoping that'll wrap up soon now that we kind of have everything squared away, and then we can just start getting it out to our different audiences. I also did a radio interview with WRCO down in Richland Center that I actually got a couple of calls up from Toma. So apparently there was a wider stretch than I thought on that. But it was great. I got a couple of questions about trace mineral requirements for goats. There was one person asking about, potentially starting up an incinerator business for animal carcasses, which was a unique question. As well as I got a question on managing potentially using grazers, goats, and cattle to manage invasive species in their woods. So I've got quite a few questions that have been happening, and now looking forward into 2025, we've got quite a few online statewide beef events coming up. We have a lunch and learn that will be once a month, January, February, and March. And then we also have what we're calling the School for Beginning Beef Producers. So it'll either be people getting into beef production, beef producers who have been doing this for a long time and want a refresher, or people transitioning from dairy to beef, as we've seen a lot of that in our state. So that'll be a 7 workshop long. It'll all be online and it's free. Just have to register. Talks about direct marketing, different sections of the industry you can get into. Nutrition kind of covers a lot of the basics. So that's what we're kind of working on in early 2025.
Isn't
Any
there
questions?
a pet or animal cremation service around here?
I think like vet offices will take like pets and small animals. He was specifically asking for like
Big
horses.
Oh,
And larger animals that couldn't be taken by rendering services. So if they're put down by a barbiturate overdose, a lot of times rendering places won't take them.
Mhm.
So incineration is kind of really your next best option, because you shouldn't be composting those either. So
what's the difference between a rendering and, because we used to have a rendering here in Viroqua. I don't think it's there anymore, out on B.
So the difference between rendering and like incineration?
Yeah.
So incineration, essentially, you're just burning the carcass, right?
Right.
You're ending up with ash. Rendering will, some places turn it into dog food, or it pretty much it'll take the fat. They can either take the carcass apart or kind of grind it up all together.
I don't think they'll pick up horses anymore.
The rendering services,
No.
especially if they're, I guess I'm not familiar with the horses that are picked up in this area, but if they're shot or they don't have any, if they're not put down by like a vet where they're using a barbiturate, they might, I don't know for sure, but
I'm pretty sure they don't anymore.
for sure won't if they're put down, because vet practices use barbiturate over this.
So then what do you do with them?
Bury them.
Removal guys in the area.
No.
What?
I haven't called this outfit I got to sign a thing for every year.
Darling, yeah.
Darling, that's it. There's some down south there. Sign something every year that you have no drugs in or anything, but you're liable for anything that would be in them anyway.
Kind of weird how that's gone.
Yeah.
Usually they'd buy the carcass off you. And then,
Yeah.
well, we'll give you a pair of gloves, and now you got to pay them.
That's right. Now you owe them.
Inflation.
So I don't know how
So
much
did
it is
that
now. I haven't done
Incineration, I mean, that sounds like
any for a while.
that's probably maybe needed. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what he was kind of asking. He also asked
Interesting.
some of the regulations, so I sent him to Animal Health Services and specifically someone who handles carcass disposal. I can't remember their name, but I gave them their phone number. I was on Google and turned up. So yeah,
Interesting.
there's definitely some regulations when it comes to carcass disposal and what you can do. So he wanted to make sure he was following within the lines of that as well, which is good.
I wonder with CWD, now you're supposed to send your deer carcass to a landfill. Does the incineration do anything with that? Or is it still not hot enough?
I don't know if it experiences.
Gotta be hot enough for an extended period.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Is here,
being
but,
a need in the area, now that we
my
talked
nephew
about it.
just bought out
Interesting.
deer processing business down in Georgia, and he said that they will not take any deer parts, any of the renders down there. They won't take any deer remains. So they're doing composting with it.
Westby Locker was one of the few left that will take deer donations.
I think they're the only one left.
They quit now.
Oh.
Again?
They got to sign up to no more deer donation deer.
Did they take any this year?
I don't know.
I thought.
I thought they,
Sorry.
do you know about that, Justin? I thought they did.
Bill said they did when he was here.
Yeah,
St.
got to sign up.
Joseph Ridge.
Well, they
has started
probably are
too.
done now with it, but they did, thank goodness, because the food pantries all count on that.
No, they're not taking any more this year.
Yeah, there was, I saw, which was a really nice way to get deer with families that need it. Karen Salverson organized just on her own, matching up moms with children that would want deer and people shooting them but didn't want to. There was a lot of deers donated just that way, getting them to families that wanted them and needed them. And I thought that was very cool.
Good.
Yeah, it's good if somebody takes them and uses them, rather than people shooting them and leaving them lay. And
Oh, for sure.
we had calls from some relatives that said, if you guys shoot any does and you don't want them, just bring them up and drop them off. We'll take care of them,
Yeah.
We didn't shoot any does, but
Yeah. Okay, any other questions here? And we'll go on to crops and soils, Sam,
Yep,
next.
you guys remember me?
Yeah.
I won't be here next month either, because I got chosen as one of two people, an extension from each, well, not each, but a good chunk of the states across the US to go down to Florida for a professional development training on basically using precision ag technology to create prescription maps that can be used to do on-farm research. So got all these fertilizer spreaders and sprayers for planters that'll apply nutrients at different rates, like the flip of a switch or whatever. They're more and more, the research in ag is trending toward using this on-farm research, writing up these maps to create plots that have different nutrient rates or whatever. The farmer plugs that into his machine, goes out there, plants or sprays or whatever at that rate. Combine comes across, we pick up the yield map, and all of our data is more or less, provided for us with really no extra work. So that's going down to Florida for hands-on training on how to create those prescription maps and set up those experiments. And so that's pretty exciting. It's all expense paid too, not by us or not even UW. It's by this project that is specifically looking at on-farm research with those prescription maps. So pretty exciting. The other thing we're working on a lot is our camelina research this year. Last year, I talked about our camelina research. It's sort of a new cover crop comparing it to rye. Last year, we had drilled camelina and rye out in one plot here and outside of Viroqua, and then 3 other plots across the state. This year, we did something very similar, but added in a treatment where we spread the camelina on with a drone over top of soybeans before they're harvested. So that was a drone we were able to get from Madison. And so that's all. We got 4 different plots across the state. Again, the same farm out here outside of Viroqua is doing it again. So that's
Who's
really
doing that?
McClurg's and
Kevin?
Kent and David McClurg.
Yeah.
Yep.
Isn't Ken on our mitigation?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
So this plot out here by Viroqua is not doing quite as well as the other 3. We think there's some herbicide carryover issues there, but we actually have a faculty at Madison that's willing to do some greenhouse work on that specifically for us. So that's another sort of tangent project. But the other 3 are looking great. The drone seeded camelina looks amazing. Definitely got a head start compared to the drilled stuff. So that's fun. We got a $40,000 grant that we're hoping gets approved. It's already been submitted to do extensive testing on all those plots over a 2-year period. So pretty fun stuff. Then I've got 2 small grain workshops going on the same day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, in Gays Mills, and one in West Salem. So just kind of north and south of here. And then, so that's January 21st. And then it sounds like we've got a tentative plan for sort of repeating the organic workshop we did last year, looking at the week of February 10th somewhere, but haven't quite nailed down a date yet, but we should have that pretty soon. So that was well attended last year. We're looking forward to doing it again and getting some faculty from Madison out here. So other than that, I think I added you all to our email list for our newsletter. Didn't get your permission, just put your emails in there. Hopefully that's okay. If you want me to remove it, more than happy, but otherwise, hopefully you're getting our newsletter me and Beth put out. So
Worst things.
Sam, so that camelina, what is the difference, like root wise, between that and rye and nutrients that it gets back in the soil?
So, well, it's really hard to quantify what, if you're talking about what nutrients it might pull up from the soil and put on the surface or whatever. That's super in-depth research. That's really hard to, it changes over every environment and really hard to put a number on. But what we do know is rye has a fibrous root system, camelina more of a tap root. So there's some potential there for compaction, alleviation maybe. And then the other half of that is it's going to pull up less, it's going to immobilize less nitrogen. So hopefully there's more available for the corn crop. That's kind of part of our goal. And it's got a lower seed-to-end ratio. So it should break down quicker during the growing season for the cash crop compared to rye. So.
Yeah.
What kind of weight can that drone hold for spreading?
The one we use for Madison is a T40, and I think it hauls 100 pounds, something like that. We got a T50 out now, which does a little bit more. So when you're talking spreading rye, 50 pounds an acre, you might get 2 acres out of it.
Mm-hmm.
The camelina, though, spread it 6-8 pounds an acre. You can cover quite a bit more ground. So
and that's what you did your thesis on, right? Or your study or something?
For this project, yeah.
No, when you were in school.
Oh, in school, no, I was corn and alfalfa intercropping.
Oh, I thought it was camelina. Okay.
Yeah, I did work with camelina. Yep, I did, after my graduate degree, we did like variety trials and stuff like that. So, yep.
You're going to Florida in January.
That's right. I know. It's perfect.
It's a hardship, huh?
I know. If they told me it was in July, I would have said, no thanks.
Well, this drone thing, that's the future with this stuff. It's just that we can't carry as much, and I'm looking at it from a herbicide application. We just can't carry enough yet quite, but it's improving.
Well, they keep getting bigger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but the dollars are there too, I think the setup now if you wanted to do that, it's about $100,000. So I mean, there's some serious money going there, but that's nothing like buying a John Deere Series R sprayer for 800,000.
Exactly.
That's where I'm going in between.
Cost effective.
It's like our fields around here are set up, for the drones.
They are.
You got smaller, more curves, more, everything is.
So that's for us. Yeah, that's real interesting. So, we got somebody else here today. One of the bigger wigs.
Great. This will try to figure that out. Hi, everybody. I thought I could give you a little bit of an update on work that I've been doing. So I'm a regional community health coordinator reaching Southwest Wisconsin. And technically I'm part of state staff, but you guys and your and the office colleagues are nice enough to let me stay. Thank you. And but it's been really nice. I've been supporting an initiative that's happening here in Vernon County around rural violent crime initiative and trying to help them evaluate it. And then we're going to be doing some community engagement around how to map domestic violence and how it happens, how people interact with various systems in the county around.
Jingle bells.
Sorry. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to doing that in from January through March-ish. And then hopefully we'll have some results that kind of help inform grant writing for them in the future. So there's some really good work happening in the county around that. It's really involved in the sheriff's department, a volunteer heart team. There's just a lot of great stuff happening here. So it's just really cool to know that the county that I live in, people are coming together to help work on such tough issues. Other things we've been doing is deliberative inquiry, and it's basically an approach on encouraging civil discourse around really hard, maybe politically charged issues, and we're bringing that into community health improvement planning for public health departments and piloting that. So,
Hey, any questions here?
How many pounds of food did you grow in the garden?
Ooh, duh. I didn't wrap that project out. The new FoodWise coordinator, who's just hired officially, is Monica, and she would have reported that data. I started my new position. I don't know how much. Good question.
I was just wondering. And I saw just yesterday that the bathhouse remodeling tourist thing is a go now.
Oh, wow.
They got the funding and it's gonna happen. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Interesting to see what happens with the garden. I'm not really sure.
I think that's somewhere in that plan.
Okay.
Just the garden behind the bathhouse.
Mhm.
That's the connection there.
Mm-hmm. But they were growing food
to
get. And I'm just wondering how much
It got donated to Community Hunger Solutions, who then actually brought it to the apartments, which are right adjacent there. That was just more for logistics, but
no, but it's great then.
Yeah, and we got to get requests from the apartment, the people who live there, like what would you like to see? What do you not get from Community Hunger Solutions that you would like to get? So Arwen Wildingway as a master gardener in our community who was very helpful. And then also Jan. There was another master gardener that was really instrumental. Library staff really stepped up this year too, and library volunteers.
Oh, it's a great program.
I can probably look into that and find that.
That would be great, just to see what that little garden produced.
Yeah.
Anything else? Thank you for coming. Come again. Okay. We'll move on here to item 9. Now we are on the land and water portion of our audience to visitors. Keep your comments to 4 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, Dave.
So as I was saying, I don't know how many county board members have been reading this 800-page report. I doubt very few of them. But the more I get into this 800-page report on decommissioning our dams, I keep running into cost-benefit analysis, which means that we don't have enough valuable land or property in these valleys to maintain these dams. But it's also full of doublespeak and very difficult to find a corner. I do have an attorney looking at it who's doing it pro bono to try and feather out some of these reasoning that they were using. As far as I know, and I believe that the flood mitigation law that Congress passed in 1956 is still on the books. What they do here is take away that mitigation. That's what the dams were there for, to protect us from flash flooding. And no real choices other than feel-good things like planting grass and making ponds. Because like I said, there's no protection from the 14 inches of rain we got in 2018, like the dams that did serve it. So we lose a few dams, take them all out. They do admit that it's $100 million worth of infrastructure that we voted to accept 8 cents on the dollar to destroy. I don't know who negotiated this thing. I don't think there was much negotiation in preparing this. I don't know how many of you met with any of these Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, Environmental. Many handfuls of professors and PhDs that weighed in on it and made it almost impossible for a layperson like myself to put up an argument. And I would really, really encourage us to going forward. We own the dams. They belong to Vernon County. There's the engineering and the DNR and the NRCS that get in the way. Like I said, I talked to it. They say it's $3 million to put in new plumbing in a dam. And I've talked to contractors that gave me a ballpark of 200 to 250 grand. So the engineering goes so overboard. You know that from any time you get an engineering involved with our road building. It's just common sense and is lacking. So I just want to keep it on everybody's mind that the clock is ticking, and they're doing this study on how to decommission the 22 dams that survived. So I'll keep talking about it until we come to that point where we vote as a county board. Thanks for coming, and drive carefully.
Where'd you get a hard copy?
We had it over in Land and Water.
A lot of trees.
That'd be forest.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a study. It said it was a negotiation.
Yeah, right.
It's a study, and there was public input sessions.
But they blew everybody off. They didn't take any public comments that made it past their meetings.
Yeah, I don't know how that was. That was according to Sundance, was the one who was supposed to be compiling the.
I got a minute left. One other Jersey Valley. I've probably spoken with 100 people that are signing my petition. Nobody understands why they want to move Jersey Valley 1,000 feet down that valley. It's a 60-foot dam. Everybody that lives around there said take 20 feet off the top of Jersey Valley and fill that hole and put a concrete spillway there, like the ones in, I think it's Duck Lake.
Wrong, Scott.
Wrong Hollow.
Duck is down too.
Yeah.
Instead of spending $22 million to move that dam 1,000 feet down that valley.
Yeah, but that never falls into our choice.
No, I know, it's crazy.
It's all according to an engineering plan that they put together, and there's all kinds of numbers that go into that and safety factors, and that's where you're saying some of that stuff's overkill, but there's safety factors involved in anytime you engineer any of that stuff. So it's not like you can just say, I'm going to put a Schedule 80 pipe in there. You got to figure out.
That's my point. You can't get to the logic because your engineering is clouding everything.
Well, the logic is that there's it has to put up with so many forces.
Okay, that's my minute.
So, yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
We're not questioning any of that.
Yeah, no,
That's what it is. One thing I will make here, NRCS inspected those dams and whatever they recommended, that's what we did.
Hmm.
And we had no choice. If we wanted to have them back us financially and do all that stuff, that's what we had to do. And we did it up till now. And now NRCS says, we're doing it. So I don't know where that goes.
It's going to destroy the property values and the values in those valleys just overnight. But we'll continue arguing about this.
There should be numbers, and you might have to get a hold of Forest Econ, is the one who put the financial stuff together, figure out where they got their numbers for like bridges and all that stuff, because that all should be rolled in there.
Well, it's in there someplace.
Yeah, I'm getting a little, I'm just in there.
Okay, yep. Okay, any other comments here under land and water? Not hearing any. Let's go to item 10. And that's to review the land and water bill for payment. I'm going to read the amounts and you can take a look at it and ask questions. Okay, our expenses for the month was total expenses $75,194.80. November reimbursements and other revenue were $2,659.97. Any questions? Now's the time to.
What's am I following this right? Oldenburg got $1,250 from NNFE grant.
Some nutrient management.
So farmers take a nutrient management class and then pay for their tuition and soil.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
It's a good choice.
Yeah.
It's the only test I ever passed.
On that Mills decommissioning, the last time we met, we were like at 65% of that done. Where are we on that now?
So this bill is representing that. I think that shortly after that, they shut down for the season, basically. So we're at about, it could be a couple percentage points more, but
Sure.
he said 69 at this point.
I think Nick's trying to say something.
I'm here with Nick. This is Mark. And if you guys, I don't know if you had any questions for Milsna, but I'm available if you had any too.
Yeah, tell us, just give us, if you could, a little update since the last time.
Yeah.
And,
well, here.
or not.
Let's not.
Oh,
do this
because,
this time.
yeah, because this is bills. All right.
We're just doing
Sorry.
bills, Mark.
Sorry.
So let's just continue with that. If we got any more questions on these bills or not. No questions? Okay, we will move on then. And they can file those wherever they keep them. Item 11, which is the Flood Mitigation Alliance update. Who's in charge of that? Cassie?
So we had our first meeting and we had great attendance. A lot of people there. We're actually having a meeting with staff this afternoon to kind of go over how our first meeting went and things we can change in the future. It's, coordinating that many people, it's going to be interesting. But we had a good discussion about, what projects have been done, what projects we're working on right now. And then we did quite a bit of goal setting, surprisingly got through all of that. So that was the summary of what happened. And so we're not meeting in December because of the holidays, but we'll have our next meeting at the end of January. Sent out a poll to find out when would work best for everybody. I believe it's going to land on the second or the fourth Tuesday of the month. But yeah, I thought it went really well. And if you two have anything to add.
Oh, there was a lot of representation there. That was awesome. It was good.
Good.
Yeah.
Feels enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Well, get your feet under you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Cassie. We'll move on to item 12 is not available, so that'll be coming next month. We'll go to item 13, resolution to apply for the LMPN.
So this is just, it's an aquatic invasive species grant through the DNR. It requires board approval. So the first step is to come to you guys and then kick it to the county board with a resolution. Historically, this has been done through Badger RC&D. We subcontracted it through them for several years. Badger RC&D kind of was defunct. And then we went to Sugar River RC&D for a while. Last year's the first year we did this in-house. And we're just looking to continue it in-house. It's a $9,100 grant. The bulk of that's salary and benefits for Sammer to promote aquatic invasive species. He's going to be plans on working with some of the schools to hopefully get some of the beetles going and stuff for the purple loosestrife control. So it's $9,100. Like I said, the bulk of it's staff dollars, some travel time, gas, that type of stuff. About $1,000 in supplies.
Okay, Nick just pointed out here, the last line here under now therefore be it resolved, and they got Ben Woyan for county conservation. That's got
some language there.
So that purple stripe too, does that, anything that's invasive, like the,
that will have to get changed to whoever the current county con is.
Well, we'll just put county conservation to carry out responsibilities.
Sure.
Just strike.
Sure. Yep. Not a problem.
Do you want me to sign a copy of this? Is that what this is today here?
No, this can get signed at the board meeting. We can, because we're going to have to put the resolution number on there. Jerry can do that. I'll get him a copy of this. We'll strike that out and I'll get a copy to him.
Need a motion.
we have to make a motion.
Yeah, motion. Let's get it on the floor. Frank, second. Okay, now discussion. Dave, you have something?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, if there's no discussion, all in favor of this grant, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. So we'll just change a few things there.
Yep. And I'll get that to Jerry and then.
Yep. Very good. Item 14, camping rate comparisons and approvals. Marty must be here.
Hey, everybody, come up. So, got some little fancy spreadsheet. I don't know how this it. Circle the whole page. So I've done this in the past every year, kind of do comparables in the area, other county parks, other campgrounds that are private that have lots more things to offer, and try to just get a breakdown of what everybody else is charging. So it kind of gives you a breakdown of where we're at. We switched all our rates last year. Everything was increased last year except for rustic and electric, but electric and water and full hookup there's a $5 increase last year. And when I look around and I see what the 2025 rates are going to be, it seems like everybody kind of stayed where they were at this year too. So I guess my recommendation, and it's all up to you guys, is to stay where we're at this year. Seemed like last year we did get a little bit of pushback on rates and going up and a big jump. It feels like if we do an every other year increase, it kind of makes people feel like they're getting a deal the next year, and then feel like and we also have to do a bunch of signage upgrades where we have changed rates, and so just looking what's out there, we're pretty competitive. We're right there with other county parks and Army Corps of Engineer. Obviously some of the other ones that when you look at the amenities, they're charging a lot more based on that. closer to, some of them are closer to La Crosse, you know, so you're going to have a little bit more, you know, cost there. One thing I am recommending is we have so when people make an online reservation, there's a $7 fee. That $7 fee covers camp spots, which we use. That's the online source. And then also processing credit cards. There's a cost for that. I'm recommending going from, because camp spots is increasing their fee 50 cents, raising that $1. So it'd be $8 for that. That's non-refundable. So if people call within 10 days, they can get a refund on there, but this is non-refundable. So it's a little bit of money added to the parks. It'd be extra like $1,800 a year that we'll make just off of 50 cents. So it'd be $1 raise on that and keeping everything else the same weekly, monthly.
Have you thought about switching the payment and not doing the percentage for a credit card to doing Venmo or PayPal?
It's the payment goes through the company that we're using. They have their credit card source that they use. So it's camp spots, and then they have their outside source, third party that they use for processing payments. So it's pretty standard. I mean, everywhere I looked so Monroe County's $8, County's $8 for a reservation fee. It's pretty common. So, yeah, that's just my recommendation. So,
okay, what were you raising again? 50 cents on?
It'd be $1 for the reservation fees.
$1.
Yep, but the actual rates for the 2025 season will stay the same as they were in 2024.
Okay, just the fee
comes to us.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It'd be a 50 cents off of that extra $1 would come back to the parks.
So you need a motion here to keep the rates the same, but up our reservation fee by $1.
I need that motion.
Okay, second motion.
Name on the minutes.
Discussion. Not hearing any. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, we're moving next to the boat flip.
Yep, so that's way on the back page. The ones in between were just monthly and weekly rates. So my proposal for that is raising that $50. There is a lot of interest in those. We're slowly starting to ramp up. We're obviously not right outside of, Blackhawk is kind of in a really good spot, but it's also not in Prairie du Chien, it's not in Lansing, and it's not in La Crosse. So you don't get the charge that $1,400. But we're ramping up. We're getting close. So the first box that you look at, our slips, for everybody who doesn't remember or is not familiar, each slip is based off of, there's ramps that are close to them, which people pay a prime price for those. And then upstream, downstream side, it's easier to park your boat on the upstream side because you get pushed against the dock. So people pay premium for that. They want those spots. So you'll see the variance in those. That's why the price right now is anywhere from $575 to $700. Brings you the average is like $638. So we'd add $50 to that. So the lowest price would be what? $688. Yep, $650 would be that, and then $750 would be the highest price, and yeah, you'd be at $688.
Is there a waiting list for those?
Huge.
I personally, of any area, that's the area we need to up.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, that's like ridiculously low.
We've done it. We've added $50 every year since we've been in.
Feel we could go. Easily 800. I'm sorry. Because there's just more and more boats. There's a long waiting list. Mm-hmm. And I feel that's like extremely still a really good deal compared to what's out there.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a very good deal, but it's one of those things. We'll have a lot of turnover and a lot of dropout if we keep throwing it up on there, but, I would say our waiting list is probably 18 to 20 people.
I don't know. There's people that want it. There's just more and more boats.
That's why I bring it to you guys. I've been slowly studying and trying to get it into that. So I think after we've done this now this year, after this 2025 year, from when we bought them, the payoff is totally done from what we've made off of them. So everything after will be clear money off of that investment of those that we made.
That was such a big investment.
Yeah. They show like they're, I mean, besides the flooding, which you're on a huge river, things happen.
Right.
But in general, those should have no major concerns or work for the next 10 to 15 years.
Is there the possibility of adding more?
No, I've talked to the,
DNR?
we can't go upstream because there's private landowners, and I've talked to the Army Corps of Engineers to ask, even if we're not touching their actual property, can we go downstream? And they said it'd be a big liability concern to them because they have trees there along there, and if they fell, it'd be on them. So
I still feel like
I did look into it.
Yeah, I still feel it could go to 800.
I stopped at Stoddard, that boat dock, last summer to get on the list, and she said, "You're number 77."
I know. It is more and more people have boats. More and more people want to put them there. And that is like, okay, we're leaving all this other stuff, but we are increasing our amenities at the parks. We want to dredge Sidey Hollow, that this is a way to get some revenue to help make other things happen in the park.
Yeah. And like I said, that's why I bring it to you guys. And
so how much of an increase is when it goes to 800? What is that, Marty? You recommend 50.
Yeah.
It goes to 700. Maybe.
Yeah. You'd be to the high end, you'd have to go up $100 across the board.
And I just feel like you still could get that without people blinking an eye. I mean, I just have enough friends that have boats. Those slips are like a hot commodity.
Mm-hmm.
And we've already got them. So why are we not in the price range of everybody else?
How many boats average down there?
There's 37 slips.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's, just a $50 increase this year is $1,850. Like I said, we've increased every year since.
Well, I know we have, but that's one area that we could, just because of the demand. The demand is high for those.
How bad do you feel the backlash would be if we jumped it up?
Yeah.
More than 50?
There'll be blowback with it, but it's, if you guys decide that extra $1,800 this year is worth it, then.
Well, I think it should be 30, sir.
Maybe we should.
Well, it would end up being 3,600, but
Let's put in the middle and 75.
I'm a big believer in the slow and steady increase, just because then when there's a year that you really needed that big increase, you've already bumped up to it slowly over time. I totally see what you're saying, but we're also not the ones that are going to have to deal with the public face to face when there is backlash.
Yeah, and like I said, I bring it to you guys. You always been supportive about everything, and it's,
Oh, I am. I'm 150% supportive of our park system.
I know.
I am. And this is just one area because the amount of people that buy boats and big boats and pontoons is ridiculous.
I'm hearing support here for 75. So I guess I'm looking for a motion here to raise our boat slips to by $75.
And we can do that.
Okay, sure. Now I need a motion. Motion from Dave. Do I get a second from Carol? Discussion. I'm hearing
They want that 25.
She's really buckling down there.
I just know what the demand is up there.
Well, we're increasing it.
Well, there's other things we want to do in our park system that everybody will be able to enjoy.
We're going to get there.
Yeah. I'm fine.
Okay. All in favor of the $75 increase in the boat slips, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
Yep. I think I got one more quick thing after that.
Approval to hire interns.
Yep. This is budgeted for yearly. We're hoping to, I think we budgeted for 4.
I think so too.
4 or 5. I thought it was 4, but it could be. This year, I think the best, we're possibly having 3 of our interns. We've contacted them that were here last year. They might be returning.
Awesome.
So this could be the first year where we only have to look for 1. And there's anybody who's ran a business or been around a business, is nothing like returning people.
Right.
You don't have to take the first 2 weeks to show them around.
Yeah.
So everybody can hit the ground running and get a lot of good stuff done. So that's our hope, is that they're coming back. They really liked it. We really like them. So just for approval to, once we figure out what they're doing, we gave them till after in the first of the year. They're trying to figure out their school schedule, that we'd be able to put out and look for interns for the 2025 season.
What do we pay the interns?
Sarah, do you know what that is?
It got increased to like 15.
14?
I thought it was 15.
15
Yeah.
something. I don't know the change. off the top of my head.
And are they getting 40 hours or do they get?
Yeah, they were
get a full schedule?
Yep. Some of them obviously might work less based on school things that they've had, and some of them leave. A lot of them are Stevens Point, so they'll go to Tree Haven. Some have left for that 3 or 4 week period where we've been very work
up
with
in
their
Clam Lake.
yeah.
thing.
We work with their schedule on that, and they're pretty open to tell us I have to leave, and we know that, and so.
Sure.
But it's been great. They get a lot of stuff done for us for a very good deal. So
No, I think having interns is a great way to
Yep.
help get projects done.
So I guess I'm looking for a motion here to hire these interns. Get that from Mary and get second from Nate. Discussion. Not hearing any. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
all right, thank you all.
Sorry, we didn't
Marty.
make your recommendation.
No, it's okay.
We got
Okay.
things to do.
Item 17 is reports from committee members and announcements. Cassie, you've got an announcement. Uh-oh.
So as you committee are aware, we held interviews for the county conservationist position. We do have an accepted offer. So David Hettenbach has accepted our offer. He is currently an inspection department manager at Nature's International Certification Services. I had to bring my computer over because we kept calling it NICS during the interview, and I knew I was going to forget. He'll be starting with the county January 6th. The committee was unanimous in their decision. Dave has a good background working with farmers and is very excited to start his employment with the county. Nathaniel knows him better. I don't know if you have any more comments. But
Other than I think he's coming in with kind of those soft skills and those managerial skills that I think we need. No, I think he'll do great.
That's what we're looking for.
How old a guy is he?
35, been here 10 years, got married this summer, looking to buy a house. If anybody knows where one is, that's for sale. So.
We really, to off your point there, we really feel like he is going to have the personality to be able to work with multiple groups of people. Actually, a couple of my department heads know him, and we're very excited that he's going to be joining our team. So we'll come on board in a few weeks here.
He'll be on board for he'll be here for our next meeting.
Yeah.
So that'll be nice.
Yeah.
And Matt, you'll be kind of tutoring him a little bit through that. Okay, very good.
Appreciate you.
Anything else here? Mary?
This last week, I attended the EcoAg convention in Madison, and it was amazing. To have all the top regenerative practices in the country, but let alone people from all over the world attended, which I was not expecting. I was doing registration and able to hop in Nathaniel was there with some of his students from Western Tech.
All of them. Took the whole program down.
Yeah, it was like to have that in Wisconsin for 49 years. It's been held everywhere in the U.S. To have it held in our state was amazing. Next year will be the 50th, promises to be even bigger and better. I would strongly recommend going online and watching YouTube, Roots So Deep. You can see the devil. And it is about these different plants that you're putting in. And after about 4 years, they were doing studies 7 feet down. They were finding roots after changing to regenerative farming on those fields. It is, you see a difference in 1 to 2 years in the topsoil. 3 to 4, there's a huge gain, but 3rd to 4th year is unbelievable. So for our county, just to have to be able to talk with these people, listen to them, and bring that information back, I think it is an immense, especially with what we're dealing with coming ahead. And I did talk to quite a few people about our dams coming out. And that is a concern. It is a concern. And then talking about what you do on that land to help prevent that, but also put nutrients back in, carbon back in. And yes, we look for a smaller yield, but overall you are way ahead, way ahead. So it was great. It was great to be there and do that. Wish I could have seen more of our county employees there, but next year it'll be the same time. I did. Yeah. Yeah. All of a sudden I see Cassie.
Our Government Finance Officers Association conference was actually in the same hotel, and I was going downstairs and I was like, what's Mary Henry doing here? And I actually engaged a lot of people from your conference just around the hotel and was interested. Like I met people from Iowa and Nebraska, and we me city girl talked farming with them, which was interesting. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was international. I knew it was going to be somewhat. I had no idea how much. But I hope we can get more of our county employees there next year.
Did you find the finance director, by the way?
I'm working on it.
Down there?
Yeah, did you
recruit? I gave away a lot of my cards. We'll see if anything comes of it.
Okay.
I hope so.
Do you want to hear more about that Millswood Dam? We could have Mark talk here under announcements.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, is there anything?
I go by there a lot, and it looks like it's pretty well completed. I'm sure Mark will.
Okay. Mark, are you still with us?
Apparently not.
I guess not.
Probably went bowling.
How much is there?
4 a.m.
Mark is here. It looks like his computer's not quite working. He's coming on over.
What'd you say?
It's the 4-day hammer.
Was that Nick on there?
Yeah, started this morning.
Hey, guys.
Nick, are you back to work?
Yeah, I'm back to work.
Sorry, I have a computer issue with mine, but I'll talk here on Nick's, guys.
Okay, go ahead, Mark. Tell us about the Millsna.
Yeah, so not a lot, if anything, has happened since our last meeting. They got the machinery out of there. It was wet and then it cooled down hard there. Basically, we're going to wait till spring for final grading and seeding for the whole site. There's a few small items of dirt work that we need to widen out a couple of the cross sections. But other than that, it's pretty much ready for final grading and seeding in the spring.
That's good.
Yeah, it turned out really good. I don't know if, Frank, you've probably obviously seen it. If anybody else has drove down the valley there, you can.
Looks very good. It looks a lot better than what was there with the dam blown out. Pushed a lot of that dirt up on the hillside, and it looks a lot better.
Yep. And that's a good example for, the other committee members to drive by because it's so accessible from the road and you can visualize it, when people are talking about notch and dams and dam removal. It's just a good example of what a valley looks like post dam. So our goal is to open it up and blend into the hillsides and, over time and as memories fade, we won't know a dam was there.
Okay, thank you, Mark. for that.
The sooner we get
update.
rid of them, the better.
Well, now we're looking to fight.
Second.
Looking for an adjournment
Yes,
and make that motion
okay.
before you go at it.
All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried.